Hi, Paul. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Danny? Thanks for.
Great. I think this is day 3 or 4 of no rain, so I'm feeling quite spoiled at the moment. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for the opportunity. This
Of
is
course.
it's great. Yeah, it's nice.
Actors making it. That's what I'm all about. So definitely keen to hear about your journey and your experiences in the industry.
Yep. Firstly, I'd just like to just acknowledge traditional custodians of the land as well. Yeah, before we get into it, yeah, far away.
I am. That is something. You know what? That's something that I never thought to do. So I appreciate you calling that out.
Oh no, oh it means it's. We're all like it's a new world. Everything's changing. Everything's shifting. Roles are changing. Uh, what we perceive 5 years, 10 years ago is not as it is today. Everything's totally different. Yeah.
Alrighty. So, acting. You are obviously an actor who is making it at the moment. Are you currently 100% acting, or do you have day
Yes.
jobs and whatnot as well? Or
Yeah. 100% acting.
okay,
During COVID, it was a really tough period. I was lucky to pick up a night fill position for Coles. I've held that job, but through the hustling and the jobs that I picked up, I've been able to sustain full time work doing this.
yeah, that's nice. All right. Well, let's get into that and how you got there. So, why acting? How did you get into this crazy old industry?
I've always been a character in my family. My mother's always like, "I'll do this," and when I was a kid, I just wouldn't be shy. I just got up and I would just do whatever she would request me to do. But when I was in college at Hubbard's up in Brisbane, I needed a subject filler, and drama was there, and I thought, let's give it a shot. And then the teacher, um, she was associated with NIDA and things like that, and she um, asked me to pursue it full time. She said, "I think you should," and she was kind of like a scout for
Okay.
it up there as well. And you sit down with your parents and you say, I want to be an actor. And the answer to them was, no, go to university, do a real job. So I did that. I did my first degree, Bachelor of Commerce. Uh, Approached them the second time because I had another window. A producer that was working it was Real Art Media when they first started out, and now they're Millennium Pictures. I got a chance to meet with him, and he said, "Oh, hey, would you be interested in getting to acting and things like that?" And I thought, "Oh," I went back and asked my parents again, and they went, "Can you do one more degree for me?" So, yeah, I went back to uni and I did another degree, a master's of function planning, and then I said at the end, when I worked for a bit, I said, "Look, I did everything that you've wanted, and I'm blessed that I've had the opportunity to do these degrees, but now it's my time to do what I need." And I felt it was my last window to get into acting, or else I'd live the rest of my life with regrets.
That's really interesting. So, like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what I'm hearing there is initially acting wasn't necessarily something that was a calling to you, but rather it was something people had recommended that you would be good at, and so you
Yeah,
looked at pursuing that.
yeah.
That's really kind of interesting. So then, even though people are telling you that, and your parents are saying no, go and get a degree, what? Why would you like if it's something that wasn't necessarily this is what I want to do,
Yeah.
but this is what I'm being recommended to do? How did you kind of decide that? Yeah, okay, well that's something that I should pursue.
Well, my parents, the old school. So, because I was born in 1980, so they didn't consider acting as a job.
Hmm.
My father, he to this day has never really considered acting as a job. And mum, yeah, she always wanted her sons to be lawyers and doctors, and it's that whole theory of what they wanted. It took time, but when I eventually got into it, I said to her, "Look, you won't regret letting me do what I want, because I want it bad. And I used to work at a video shop, so I was trying to suppress it. It was hard because you kind of know that you're good at something, but so working at a video shop, I'd see films, and you always wish that you were a part of that film or that opportunity, that role, or you could do that. And it got to a point where I just couldn't deal with it. You try everything to suppress it, but it just kept coming back, and it kept coming back at me. And I knew the last time the opportunity came, I knew that was it. It's telling me, this is the last time you're going to have this.
Okay.
So you either take this now or you bury it.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you finally succumbed to the pull of acting, how did you kind of pivot from what you were doing into acting? Was it you studied again, or you just went in and did it? What was your path?
Yeah, well, first thing is, my theory is, if you're going to go on The Voice, probably see a professional first to see if you have a shot or a chance or something, see something in you. So I went to the same coach from that I had in Hubbards, and she, I didn't know I was being auditioned. So you pretty much pay for your lessons up front. So I paid 3 lessons up front, and she gave me certain scripts. And it was really funny because I remember one of them was Glengarry Ross. And I played it the way that you think it should be played, but then I had what I wanted to play it as. So I remember I turned up and she goes, okay, play, go for it. So I did the first one where I thought it would be. And she goes, is that the way you've always wanted to play it? I feel it's just the way that's... I went, I really want to do this. She goes, why don't you just do it? Oh, okay. So I did my own version. And then she was like, great. Sat back, and then she went, all right, and gave me a couple more scripts. And then on the third one, I was just shocked because she laid I never forgot that she laid a pad, and she laid the phone, and she said, what would you want to do? Because right now I can make a phone call and you can go to NIDA in Sydney and study for 4 years, or stay with me. And I looked at it and I was like, what? Because I'm just from negative. Like, everyone's always told me the worst stuff, And I've always thought, that can't be right, is it? And I thought, you know what? I'll just stay with you because I've done 2 degrees. I've spent so much studying. You just overstudy, right? So I thought, I'll just do one-on-one with you. It's more one-on-ones better. You learn more, as opposed to just, I felt that if you were going to go to class. So I stayed with her for a bit, and then I got to a point where I said, all these lessons are here. I'm just dying to get into it. So that's when I went, okay, where do I start? Google.com, have a look. I basically hustled from nothing. I had no connection, nothing at all, nothing, not one thing. And then I found, sites like Star Now, and I remember I did a billboard that was on the airport for a $100 Coles voucher. So that's when it first started out, back in 2010. So the payments for the jobs was very low, and it was only just starting. And then from there, I started doing these jobs for these guys. And I remember I did that billboard, and the photographer won an award for that photo. And then I remember I turned up on a set, and he was there taking photos of the gig, and he's like, hey, that photo that we did? I said, yeah. He goes, I got an award for it. So he contacted me and then gave me work. And then I started going, oh, hang on a sec. So your work ethic, right, pays. So I was doing jobs for people for minimal, knowing that not now, but in 2, 3, 5 years' time, I'll get bigger payments. And so he linked me up with years worth of work. And it's just, I just kept networking. That was more commercial photography for him. The acting was through schools. I went, and some of those students graduated, and then they would call me up, and I go, "Dude, I've got a gig for you right now. Can you make it? It's so and so dollars." I said, "I'm there." Boom. And there's 6 schools within the Brisbane region. So there was NIFA, JMC, Griffith, Bon Uni. I remember another one. There's one I'm missing.
QUT?
Yeah, QSFT. And QT was there. And what I did is I did one job, and then I started doing that because they had their first, second, third years. So the first year was they do a scene and then they get to redo it to their own way.
Yep.
So I'd get in some of those classes with them, and then they would go to grade year 2 and year 3 they did the finals. And it got to the point where starting was renowned for people pulling out. Right? I remember I did one short film and the guy said, "Dude, my actor's pulled out, man. Can I use your actor?" And I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah. I get to be a doctor in this one, right?" So I didn't even have to cast. So what happens is that they all had me on their messenger feeds, and I end up doing, during their peak periods, I do about 5 or 6 short films in a week, back to back to back to back to back. Then I end up doing...
and these are all like student films and stuff that you were doing?
Yeah, student films, nice. Scene redos, all that stuff. And I ended up doing about 200 in under 3 years.
Yeah, that's a lot. I think that's a lot. And you, like, from a student film perspective, were you being paid for those, or?
Some of them I was being paid, because some of them I actually had leverage there, and I said, "Look, it's hard for me to come and do this for free." So it was small payments, but it was good. It worked out well. So I had that, plus I had the photography stuff there, plus I had a couple commercials come through that I did, and then those companies started calling me back. So I didn't even need a casting director.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd be like, "Oh, we remember," and I'd stay away from the perpetuity ones. Obviously, some of them, when payments got pretty desperate, you had to take them. But then, I mean, perpetuity for something that you would never ever do, like, I don't know, probably blankets. Like, who's ever going to do a competitor for blankets? Like if it was like Asics or something, like, okay, I'm not a model, so I'm not going to be doing these massive Asics campaigns, right? So I might as well just take this one. You kind of fought, and there's that whole hustle for each dollar and small jobs, and then it just over the years just paid off. I started getting the bigger payments later on down the track.
300 short films or 200 short films in 3 years is a lot. It's a lot of work, which is admirable. When you first kind of started out, and you obviously decided acting was your career choice, what was your idea at that point in your life of making it? Like, once I do this, then I've made it as an actor.
My standards are really high, so I would pretty much label my whole career within steps of 1 to 10. I'm pretty much on about a cusp of 7 at the moment. And the point that I felt I made is when I went on to Born to Spy. So I got a bit of a break there, playing a father of one of the main characters in the children's TV series. And it's crazy because I rocked up and I thought, "Oh, this is it." The producer's over there, just give me a wave and a smile, and these are the people that that you're going to be surrounded by. And it was just, like, I've been on sets that be professional, but this is, you just know once you're there on set, and then you're seeing A-list actors. I got to work with Nicholas Hope 101. That was awesome, and I worked at a video shop, so I was when I met him, I thought, dude, Bad Boy Barbie still gets rented to this day, you know that, right? When I was working at a video shop, and he'd be cracking up laughing. I was like, look at this day when I look at that video thinking, what are we going to see with this guy 101? That's crazy. And we had 2 rehearsals to do the scene. Nick Verso was the director. And all the work that I've done in the past, all the grinding and learning about more than just acting behind their scenes and everything, it just paid off. So he was shocked too, because we just did we had to come up with a song and a little dance thing, and we just did it within like two like quick rehearsals. It was like under 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. It was a tight window, and then we went straight into shoot. So I nailed it in each take, and then I was out. And then I did the second one the next day, and it's crazy because I remember when I first started, you do extra work because you want to watch and see how everything goes, and you're like, oh, it's amazing. And you see these new faces, you're like, who's that? Trying to figure it out. And I'm doing the scene, and look around, and I can see people's faces going, who's that guy? And it's funny, it's like, it's flipped now. It's like, I was there, and now I'm there. That was the point when I felt I made it. And those people on that set are just so nice and humble that I've networked with them. And a couple of them I catch up with. One of them he's actually really close. And the stuff that they've told me has just given me that confidence. Now, not confidence as an arrogance, it's confidence as in knowing your capabilities as an artist, but being grounded at the same time to appreciate, it's pretty hard to, I don't know, from my position, to be arrogant when you've been through a lot of people that try to kick you down. Yeah. So that groundness is there. You become kind of sentimental. So that was the point when I felt I made it. I was like, yeah, this is it. And that's the benchmark for me. I mean, most people would have had different ones back in a day where, I received a best performance award for a short film, and that one, people would have thought that's when they made it. But for me, it's like, no, when you're there with the A-list actors and you're in there and you're doing it and you can do the scene of that capability when you test it with your skill set, that's where I felt that's when I made it.
As you know, over the past few years, self-tapes have become the norm, and they are being used by more and more industry professionals to cast all sorts of productions. I've personally recorded self-tapes for theatre and TV and film and commercials, and it makes life easier for casting as they can see more options. But what isn't easy for us actors is finding someone to read for us in the moment that we need them. That's where We Audition comes in. We Audition is an online video chat community where you can call someone that has marked themselves available and they will read for you for your audition. You can use We Audition to rehearse, film, or just ask questions that may help your audition. Last year I had an actor contact me who had never drank alcohol, who just wanted to know how to play drunk. You can sign up to We Audition to be a reader yourself. I log into We Audition most days and I just leave it on, and people call and I accept, and I help them with their auditions. So you can earn a little extra cash doing that, and you can just meet some great people. I even helped one of the main cast of Morning Wars tape an audition towards the end of last year. Look, it's a great platform, and if you're going to sign up to be a reader, it basically pays for itself. So if you want to sign up to be a reader on We Audition, you can get 25% off using the Actors Making It discount code MAKINGIT. So just go to www.weaudition.com and use the code MAKINGIT when you sign up.
So you said at the beginning of that that you have 10 stages of what you're working towards, and you're at kind of level 7 or at the cusp of 7 at the moment. So talk to me about what those levels are that you've set yourself of from 1 to 10 of these are your, I guess, milestone markers of your career.
Yeah. 8 would be the point where you actually...
Well, talk me through from 1. I'm keen to hear
what
your journey has been of progression to get to where you are now, or what you're striving towards.
Yeah. So 0, basically, you paint your whole goals and say, like, at the end, 10 is a sustainable career where everyone knows who your name is. You're the person they want to audition the role for. So basically, Black Adam came up. Paul Talbot. That's who I want to call in the rain for. So starting from 1 was, first of all, you got to get some experience and some training, all that sort of stuff. So the training comes in, and as you're starting to develop skill sets within learning your scripts and learning to make the scripts more real, you start to develop that to 2, to 3, and then your confidence levels comes to 4 with your work, and you start to get bits and pieces around 3 to 4 to apply all that training towards. Then you hit 5. 5 is your benchmark where you say, okay, now it's time to dive in. Just take that leap of faith and just jump in. And then you've got to get your other job that you have at the time becomes second priority. So everything you're doing now is towards acting. And then from 5 and 6 is where you start to make people know who you are. And then from 6 to 7 is when you get repetitive work, and then people are starting to see, hey, who's this guy? You come into casting rooms. For me, I was blessed. Like last year, I had about 20 castings. I had about 17 callbacks.
Okay.
So to me, that's your skill set and your personality. It's everything there. It's basically you're at a point where you go in a room and it's not about getting a job. It's about them knowing who you are. You're trying to get in front of more people now. So 7 is the...
Before you go any further, with you saying that level 5 for you, whether it's you or for everybody, but your level 5 was where people started to know who you were to audition you. How long did it take you from beginning your acting journey to getting to that level 5 point of, okay, people know who I am and they're inviting me to audition?
That was about 5 to 6 years.
Okay.
I was at a bull at a gates. I would take anything. I didn't care what it was. I was like, and I'd do it to the best of my ability. Like I would turn up prepared, but I would have so much more I could play and add to it. And that's when the people were like, hey, I like this dude. Like, he does his way. And like, you do some scenes. It's funny, like, I remember I'd had this whole scene they wanted to do, and I played it my way. And then everyone stopped, and everyone went up to the director and went, dude, but you just used that take. That was so much more better. And you can hear them like whispering. And I'm like, I'm happy because I'm happy like they've got options. And he's like, no, I want it done this way. And they were just all going. But then they would go and message me and go, dude, can you come on mine? So that's when,
cool.
Yeah, it was about 2005, 6.
I just think it's important for people to realize that it can take a long time to get somewhere, right? Now you're telling me that you work full time as an actor now, so you're not maintaining a job outside of acting to pay the bills, which is a wonderful place to be in. But you've been at this for obviously a very long time. So I think for most actors starting out, I mean, I'm part of so many different Facebook groups, and I will look at people who will post questions like, I've been trying to make it as an actor for the last 6 months or the last 18 months and I'm not getting auditions and I'm not getting anywhere and blah, 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 because they think that it's going to happen overnight. But, your level 5 was 6 years to get to a point where you were getting regular auditions and people were like, okay, yeah, Paul is a reliable auditioner. We will get him in.
And also that 5, 6 years, I mean, people like when I went back to another school to try to perfect my work, because I remember I looked at some of the choices I made in some of the scenes, and with student films they choose edits. Editors can really determine what the scene comes out. Like they could choose a wrong option for it, but they're learning, and that's when I started perfecting choices and instincts in work. And I remember it was just like my coach at the time. He was just like, okay. This is the scene. Throw a notebook and a pen, and he goes, okay, you got 5 seconds, count down to 5, he goes, okay, this is the scene, action. It's like, all right, cool, do the scene. All of a sudden, I just felt this right moment to pick it up and start writing and drawing. Oh, do you remember this place and slip little notes and stuff. And then he was like, at the end, I think he told me, he goes, look, you've got instincts, and that's something that can't be coached to people that either have it or don't. And that's when I started learning, oh, okay, so wow, this is something that's pretty cool. And then I did a children's workshop at Gander with it was amazing. These kids got no mobile phones, nothing. They get dropped to school. So we're doing the whole workshop. They're so diligent, the keen act and everything. And they taught me the power of imagination. So I would write the same scripts, give them the scenarios, and they all wanted to do it their own way, which is so completely different. And I remember there was one where these 2 girls were sitting in the cockpit, and it was about like, there's a storm coming. And she goes, oh, no, quick. Alerts the passengers, quick, mate, we're going down, blah, blah, blah. And then she snatched it out of her hand. She goes, we're going to die. We're all going to die. And I was like, that's not in the script. What the hell? But that was so good. And I thought, oh. And then I walked out going, wow, as actors, we forget the power of imagination. because we were so reliant on technical aspects and how to do the scene. And you know.
Well, we're also relying on making sure that I think you touched on this earlier. I think until you reach a point in your career where you feel confident in what you're bringing to a scene or to your acting and trusting and relying on your instincts. When we first start out, we're very much in a mindset of doing, like, we're trying to show something that we think the other person wants to see, rather than actually being in the moment and being present and just going with it. Which I think is really interesting, because if like, whenever I do scene classes or do whatever with people, they always say and I'm guilty of it myself, they always say I didn't feel that, I wasn't in the moment, blah, 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 blah. But I think a lot of that is down to, I didn't give you what I think you wanted to see, rather than just doing the scene and having fun and being creative and imaginative and kind of getting on with it. But that in itself is a journey, right? You know, it's going to take years. Some people can naturally just go straight into the, like, fuck it and do the thing because they don't care. Yeah. But it's taken me, I think I've been acting on and off since I was a kid, but it's only been the last 4 years that I've been kind of like, no, this is who I am and what I'm doing. And it's only probably been the last 6 months where I've moved away from the trying to give what I think you want to see and just having fun and doing the thing that I want to do rather than what I think you want to see.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine I helped, and this is kind of the biggest aspect a lot of people have. It's blocks. So you're watching a movie, it's an emotional scene, but you don't really tear up. You kind of, that's your block kicking in. Mm-hmm. You've got to find within yourself, the only person you can find is you. And you'll find that you have certain blocks, and it's blocking emotions for coming through and being open. And I remember I said to a mate of mine, I said, look, just tell us about your breakup and everything. And that was it. He just started flowing out. And he's never vented or discussed it or anything like that. And he was very open about it. And he said, dude, you need to shut this off for me. He said, what do you mean? I said, I just looked at a sign and started crying while I was driving. I just laughed. And I said, they got it, bro. You're free. That's the thing I think a lot of people forget. You know, you go in a scene, how do I look? Is the makeup great? What if you just played it funny? For example, there was a commercial. I won't use my story, use someone else's story. It's actually great. So he was running down and he had to chase his tire, right? And he was dressed up in normal clothes as the father and all stuff. And he said, wait. Could we try this? Could I wear like really short shorts, like really tight, and have a short shirt so my guts hanging out and I'm running down in flip-flops? It'd be really funny. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. And it was hilarious. But because he doesn't have any blocks, he doesn't care what people think. He's like, I don't care. I'm just going to go out and do the scene. The scene is more important than me. And that's why he just killed it. And it's that point when you've got to just give in to criticism, things like that. I mean, I did a monologue on my mother, and I was scared to release it because I thought, man, what people going to think? You know, this is something really personal. It's a journey I went through in my life. And you got the opposite response. Yeah, you got like, just, I don't know, 600 views in about a day, just over a day. And the compliments came down, and I was just amazed. I thought, wow. And that's like a step for breaking those blocks, to being more open, accepting. Dude, this is who you are. Yeah. Like Danny's scene will be so different from mine. You can do it in such a way that I would love it. Like, both our ways would be the best ways. But on the day, it's just how they feel Dave finds right for the character. But that means that because you're more bold now, you're going to get more auditions for other stuff. Yeah. Because they're like, I liked his audition. That was really good. And they keep them. They actually have it in the back of their heads. They know. Yeah. And they remember you. And they're like, like later on, I'm going to bring them up for that. And that's one thing I always encourage all artists to be. It's just be yourself. There's no right way, no wrong way. there's a bowlway, and that the bowlway is no blocks, just you, just going for it.
I read like reflecting on the story that you just told about your mate who doesn't have blocks and he just kind of gets on with it, and he did the funny scene.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly where the quote came from, because the quote that I read was one actor quoting another actor. So I'm not going to try and name drop who those actors were. But the quote itself was around the fact that again, I'm paraphrasing, but you have to be prepared to be embarrassed in acting. Like, the idea of acting is embarrassing, and you have to be prepared to be embarrassed to be successful. And I think you've touched on something that's really kind of so prevalent in the industry, especially when you're just starting out. I won't necessarily use the term block, but when you're starting out and you're like, I need to be perfect. I need everybody to watch me in this scene and be amazing, and I get all my lines right, and people watch it and go, that was amazing. And we get stuck in this perfectionism kind of cycle of trying to just be what we think people want to see, that we don't allow, or we're afraid of being embarrassed, or we're like, oh, I look terrible today, I didn't sleep really well, and I look shit, so I look crap on camera, and this is going to be shit. But when you start to move away from that and be like, yeah, sure, I might look a bit shit, or I might look a bit stupid doing this, but I don't fucking care because this is what's going to look great for the scene, then that, or even not thinking about what's going to look great for the scene, just doing it and being in the moment and being present for it, I think is when people start to level up. Yeah.
There was a play I did for Mount Cotton Drama. It was the last ones before they closed down. And I played a priest, and it's about the main character, the female. Her husband cheats on her. So she reads a book, and the book influences her to cheat and just have other men in her life and try, every other man. And I played the priest, so she has a thing with the priest. So there's a bit where I'm like, I just rip all my clothes off, I'm down to my undies, right? And then we're making out, and then the husband's coming in. I'm running upstairs. I'm hiding in the bedroom, but then I come out, trying to sneak out, but they get caught by the whole family. So there's it only goes for 30 seconds, but it felt like 5 minutes, right? So I'm in my undies, walking. So I have to slowly walk from the back. This is on the whole stage, all the way around to the front on the couch. Grab the Bible, then put it between my legs and cross my legs and sit there. And you can see the audience. I can see my friends with their mobile phones going. And they're like, I was sitting there going, oh my God, this is. But yeah, did it play over and over and over. It felt like 5 hours sitting there going, oh my God. But, the character, and they laughed, and that's what was more important. We're just kind of little, we're sort of, they need us to bring what we want to the character. Like, for example, it's a comedy scene. If they're laughing, you've done your job.
Exactly.
You're saying before about camera, you just got to trust the camera guys. Because to be honest, right, they need to make a good production. If it's not good, they're not going to use it.
Exactly.
They got to use you at your best.
Yeah.
So it's going to look good. And you will sometimes watch it and you'll be like, oh my God, that's not me. Like, what the, I've never seen this before. But the camera people just have this gift, and they just know what they can bring out of you.
Yes.
It's crazy. Like, I've seen some of them just go, oh, I'll just do this one shot. And if we pan across here at the end, he'll be like, and then you watch a shot and you're like, oh God, that's it.
Yeah, nice.
Like Nick Verso was watching 2 screens. So this guy was an absolute freak. So he was watching that person's line, that line, and he's watching. So they both match, and he'd have it cut together. When you watch it, Born a Spy, it was great. It was shot so well, and but it's a lot of trust. You just got to trust everyone around you, because people see things in you, and sometimes you don't even know. You have no clue what the hell they see in you, but they see something in you.
Yeah,
and you, and that's the thing. No one's boring. Everyone's unique. Everyone's got something beautiful about themselves, and that's what people always go. Oh, I hate it when they say this. They like, tell me something. You say, I'm just boring. Or, just Australian.
Yeah.
Just Australian. Like, dude, Australians like dominate a lot of things, sport-wise, cultural-wise. People want to know you, your accent. Like everyone's got something beautiful about themselves, but they've got to believe in themselves to know that.
I want to just touching on your levels again. So you've given me from 1 to kind of like 6. So you're saying you're on 7 at the moment.
Yeah.
And 10 is the people invite me to audition because invite me for the role because they know who I am and I got the role is for me. So what's your next level of leveling up that you're working towards now?
Well, the culture ambiguous thing is what's the biggest battle right now. Okay. Like, as my mother, she's such a beautiful woman. When she was younger, she looked American Indian, but she's got Polynesian, so she's got Samoan in her, German. My great grandmother was German with long white hair and spoke fluent German. We have Hawaiian in us as well. My dad's English, from Wigan. He's got a background there, and you see my
people from Wigan.
Dad's relatives all have caravan parks there too. So I was like, you know, gypsy. And it's kind of funny because I'll be walking the shops with my dad, and people just look at me like, "Who's that?" I'm like, I'm walking around with a strange, like with an older Caucasian guy. Like, it's my dad. It's like, people are like, "What? Yeah, he's as Aussie as he gets." I mean, he uses the word woman and this and that, and he's got so many phrases. And Mum, she speaks with broken English. She's as fresh as they come off the boat, And you see both of them living together, and I was like, this is like a comedy. So two cultures clashing over how they perceive things. But with me, people are just trying to pick me. So at the moment, I got contacted about one. They said, "Oh, is he of Māori descent?" But the thing is, one thing too, people have to understand is Māoris and Polynesians, we're all the same. The only thing that's different is that when they have a funeral, it's the traditional way of doing, like their cultural way of doing things. It's the only thing that's different. That we're all farmers. We're all built on family. It's kind of funny how they're still, because I mean, you look. I got cousins that are half Samoan, half Kiwi, half Māori, and you don't even know what nationality they are, And you see the haka, like New Zealand All Blacks, half of a team of Samoans and Tongans and Fijians, and that's one thing I think they need to sort of look into. But for me, the only way to break that is I need to create a name for myself. I need them to go, I want Paul Talbot in here.
Yeah.
I think right now is a point where they're trying to discover what my nationality is. They're trying to fit with the boxes in there. I remember there was an A-list actor. She had red hair. I'm trying to forget her name. She's on like nearly everything. And she said that when she came in the industry, they didn't know where to put her, right? They're trying to they have these little boxes they try to put you in. She couldn't fit in any of them until she started getting her own work and create her own little projects that people started seeing her. So for me, people go, "Oh, are you Spanish? Are you South American? Are you Māori? Are you Pan-Asian too?" I mean, I did some Pan-Asian work as well. It's just crazy. But now they're having that battle between authenticity as well as look. But if you know and you're born from there and you know how they behave, I don't see there's a difference between that either. You're doing justice to them. You're not.
It's a kind of interesting topic or discussion that I'd like to get into because of how long you've been working now. I imagine I don't want to put words in your mouth, but obviously diversity when it comes to casting has been very hit and miss for such a long time around whether it be color, heritage, where you're from, kind of thing. I think we've gone through this kind of cycle now of like once upon a time, obviously it's very much been cisgendered white folk that make it in the industry, or that kind of get majority of the work, and then people of color would be stereotyped into a specific thing. But we've gone from, I'm keen to hear about your experience, as I said, because you've been in it so long. We've kind of gone from this, okay, so we need a person of color it doesn't matter where they're from, our character is this, as long as they look a little bit like this, then it doesn't really matter, to now going to a point of, unless this person is of Polynesian descent or is an actual Maori, then then we can't hire them. So you've had a career that spans probably a couple of periods of time regarding diversity. What's your experience been over the years with your own cultural background and what that's meant for your acting career and decisions you've made?
When I was up in Brisbane getting a lot of work there, it's very, very low paying jobs. You're doing bits and pieces of stuff. And I had a casting director there invite me for drinks to his house, and such a nice guy, so blessed. And I was lucky that he actually did that for me, because he said to me, "Look, dude, I've been trying to get you on this campaign 5-6 years ago, but the clients just won't pick you. Like, I literally put you as the only person." And they said, "Oh, see if anyone else." And then as soon as came in, he apologized to me, and I said, "You don't have to apologize. It's just the industry. It's bad to create hate and keep hate. It's a very heavy thing to carry." Mm-hmm. With me, I find success is the best revenge. I'll remember that, and I'll be like, "Oh, okay." Then I'll get my next job and make sure that's like I kill it. So they see and they go, "That's the guy that casted for us," but yeah, and he did good in this other job. So the only way I can ever get back and get more work is through success, through your work ethic, and everything's through my work ethic. I've always had to, you turn up prepared, you have everything done, and people remember who you are, because your name is the biggest thing as an artist that creates you. But movement here, right now, I just moved here at the right moment, right time. Because when I bumped into my Maori friend that's been in the industry for years before me, we had a little joke. It was like, "Oh man, I went for this barbecue ad," and I was like, "Oh, I got shortlisted." He goes, "Let me guess, you lost it to," and I was like, "Yeah." It was like a little internal joke, but you can't hate it. At the end of the day, the industry's changing. I'm happy about that. Yeah. I mean, like, for example, we now acknowledge the custodians of the land. Like you said before, that's something we never did before, but now it's something that we do, and it's something that I like to take on board. Is just change. Like, LGBT movement is awesome. I'm so for it. Euphoria. Before people liked it, I liked it way before, man. It took ages for people to catch on. Like, why does it take you so long? Yeah. Right? And you look at one of the characters there, and he's transgender. And there's a moment where he's lying on the bed, and you can see him. He's fully, as an act, that's amazing, because he's so open, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, this show is unbelievable, because it's got one of every different person, and everyone can relate to this, and it's down this miserable path. And I just, when I saw that, I was like, I'm so for it. It's about time, man. Like,
yeah, of course.
We are actors, man. We can play different roles, and the fame for me, I think now is moving here at the right time has made it really, really nice now. Like, my mentor, which obviously I told you with the names, I'll keep. She's amazing. I call her mum, and she's straight down that ethnic lane. So she helps promote, like, for me get roles, and yeah, she'll try her best to help me get some jobs as well. But she teaches me to become a good person as well. That's one thing I've always loved. Like, we all have no work times. We all have, "Oh, you're shortlisted," or "Damn it, you didn't get the job," or you didn't get a call back, you didn't get a message back. You got to try and put it in your own mind to go, okay, how am I going to deal with this? Okay, get back on the horse.
Sure.
Let's do it again.
But how do you, I'm getting the sense that you're quite a positive person, and you, from what you've said, you don't carry hate, or you don't hold grudges or let yourself get bogged down too much and stuff, but without putting words in your mouth, which I tend to keep doing. But
no. Well, I mean, don't worry. It's like,
acting can be a negative experience, or there can be a lot of negativity that come out of it, because we're obviously focused on getting the gig, and we don't get the gig, we don't get a call back. How do you pick yourself up and dust yourself off and keep going? How do you keep yourself motivated? What are your kind of mental health? What sort of mental health journeys have you been on? I realize I just threw like 5 questions at you, but
Oh no, that's all of like it's so funny because I remember when I first started, it was so personal. What's wrong with me? Why am I getting shortlisted, held, and then released on the last day? And then you see the person everywhere, and you're like, that guy got the job over me. And that's the worst one because you're like, oh, I want to avoid the coffee club or something. I want to avoid the certain film that came in, and you like, oh, damn it, I went for that role, and at first, it used to really get on me, and I didn't have a partner at the time, and my mother didn't really understand the industry, so I had no one to converse with.
Mm-hmm.
But then, as I started going along, I started talking to them after my auditions. I was like, and when I got a certain job, I said, "Oh, can I just ask you, like, what sort of helped stand out?" He said, "Well, dude, you just did this little thing in this moment, and that doesn't make a difference." And I was like, "Oh, okay." It's like, "Yeah, I loved it. Thank you." I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then I was like, "Hang on a sec." So they remember it. So I was like, "Oh, okay." So it's not about getting the job anymore, right? It's about creating a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started creating relationships, I was bypassing the casting process. And I was getting work without agents. And I was like, "Hang on a sec, this is awesome." Then it got to a point where, you get into films, you need an agent, hands down. Like, people say you don't need an agent, and you're like, "Hey, why has Matt McConaughey got an agent?" Everyone's got an agent, and that's when I had to approach one. And funny enough, I couldn't get one. I got a lower tier one, and then I'm hitting another brick wall. So my whole career was constantly brick walls, hitting brick walls. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to get around this? How am I going to get around this? Okay, I got to get another job. Got to keep building my own stuff, keep momentum. Momentum is the hardest thing to ever carry forward. And I stopped. It wasn't until I moved here, my mentor said to me, "You need to start enjoying the jobs," because I'll be on set thinking about what's my next job.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about this job, not enjoying this job, the hard work I put into it, it's what's the next job. And they always say that. It's like, it's the hardest thing is not getting a job. The hardest thing is creating momentum moving forward and having your face out there all the time. And I've always tried to maintain that so that people are always seeing your face on TV and all that stuff. And eventually, hey, I remember this guy. Maybe I should probably call him into and force them to call you into their room. That, as I started developing that whole mindset of changing and in gambling, got more fun because you're like, okay, now I can play because everything I'm doing is right.
Yeah,
it's my way. You either like it or you don't. And then you keep going, and then you start going, oh, okay. Then you start learning. So people forget about this. So when you get an audition, look at it. There's a reason why you got the audition. Study it. There's people don't do that. Like people will complain. They'll like, they'll hand me something. Go, oh yeah, I didn't get auditions or whatever. I'm like, oh okay. I'll go back. I'll look on their page. They've got no reel. They've got no new updated headshots. I was the opposite. I used to go into my agent. I said, look, what else do you need? She goes, oh, I've got everything. I said, okay, well, can I get an interview to go to a higher level within your agency? And I made my button to her, and she would just shrug me off. It's another brick wall. It's like, I look back, I go, man, so many people would quit if they went through my shoes like 3-4 years ago. 3-4 years into it, they would just quit. There's so many walls I went through.
What keeps you motivated then? I mean, if you've been coming up against those brick walls so often, what kept you going?
Oh man, I want it bad, man. Like when you know you're good at something and you've got something to offer to people, like as in stories and telling, it just kept driving me and my family, man. My mother, she used to act in the villages. It's funny. My grandfather would sit on the porch and he'd say, oh, Julie, come and perform for us. And she'd cut the umbrella and she'd put it as a thing and she'd ride the pig in front of the thing and everyone would start laughing. My mum was like a comedian. And my auntie said to me, did you know that? She goes, oh my God. She looked at my mum and said, that's you when you were a kid. I was like, oh, so that's where I got it from, right? And in the Samoa culture, I want to make changes, not just for me, just for the people as well. Like I like to make breaks, and people know people that they can get places if they just put their mind to it.
Yeah.
And family blessings within. Oh, it's weird. It's like when you're within Polynesian families, they want you to do well. They love that. They so embrace it. They support you. They have you from back. Anyone says anything negative, they'll just shut them out. And that's what's always kept me there. And if you're going to go for it, man, go. Don't ever look back. Make your decisions. Ask your questions. Personal questions, like for example, there'll be a point where people will be staring at you, and you have your personal space, your privacy, things like that will be in question. You got to question yourself, is this worth that? Because some people, they go, I want to get into it, and, they have the different reasons for getting into it, but you need to sit down and ask yourself questions. Okay, now I'm going to do this. That means I'm going to get rejected a lot. That means that, hey, if I do get roles, people are going to start looking at you. Mm-hmm. People are going to talk to you differently. If you have a successful career, your privacy, everything's going to be in jeopardy. These are things that you need to question and go, okay, am I ready for this? Okay. Now, if this is what you want to do, then go for it and don't turn back. When I hit Sydney, I paid someone to help me out with my whole portfolio and to get a new agent and all that sort of stuff to move up. My partner was the main reason why I moved down, and she's amazing. There's another story towards how it's weird with us, but I had a friend of mine say, have you met anyone in the industry that will go with your acting? I couldn't, because when you do intimacy scenes, it's just, I know you would know as well, like they just don't understand the process.
Yeah.
But my partner's dated a filmmaker, so she knows that when you do a makeout scene, there's like 15, 20 people in the room looking at you. You don't even have a camera and someone behind the camera going that close, like right up in your face. So there's no, it's like
no actual intimacy.
Yeah, that's right. So she was like a big, massive backbone for me. So she now has, she just knows how to talk to me and how to get things right. There's times when I'll go, like you still have doubts. I go, damn, get that. Blah, blah, blah. She's like, you got shortlisted. I said, yeah, I know, I was shortlisted. Yes, okay, cool. You're right. So when I moved here and I had that agent thing, I didn't get an agent. I lost all that money and I had to start all over again.
Yeah.
From what I'd learned from zero in Brisbane in Sydney. So I started all over again, and then I end up within 2 years, I have now signed with a top tier agent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny, out of all the agents I've had in my life, they're the only one that when I got the call and they said because I've approached them and had the interview, they decided to take me on. I just broke down in tears, man, because I got announced on a newsletter to the actual agency with the family, and I got to meet them. And when you have someone that cares for you, bro, like it's real. It's a massive difference. And it's funny because I rang him up and I was like, oh, dude, here's all the connections I made and everything. And he was like, you need to just go out and enjoy the sun. I've got you created. So I was like, oh, okay, that's right. And it's now weird because now the amount of jobs I go for are smaller. It's a smaller number each year, but it's more quality work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's nice. Like he's got my back. Yeah, when you feel that love from your agent and that respect, man, there's nothing going to stop you.
Oh, I look forward to getting to that point. Just kind of at the beginning, obviously, you talked about the fact that you act full time now. At what point did you feel comfortable in your career to be like, okay, I don't need to have a job to support my acting anymore. I'm gonna go all in for this. At what point in your career did you feel that was you were in a position to make that decision?
Yeah, that's a funny thing. There's no right time.
No, of course not.
There's when I moved down here, that's when I made that decision to go. And
How long have you been in Sydney?
for about 2 years, just a little bit over 2 years, yeah. And I missed the casual job I had up there. I just missed so many people up there, and I kept holding on to it. Which I didn't need it. I just kept holding on to it. And a good friend of mine pulled me aside and said, "Dude, we'll be fine. Like, we're still going to be here. We'll be keep in contact with you. We'll still be following your journey and everything." And he knew why I stayed. I stayed for the people. And he said, "Look, we know you're going to do great things and be great, and just go. Leave us, man. We're fine." And I catch up with them all the time when I go up there all the time there. And that's when I made that journey to move full time. And when you go full time, because it's hard. There is no part time. So a lot of people say, part time. I'm going to do this part time. I'm going to do this casual. It's just all or nothing in this industry. That's the harsh thing about it. And it's funny, is like you'll be broke and then make money. There's no like, I'm going to make a bit to go through as I can start slowly get bigger. It's either you're just broke or you just like you get paid. It's like, where's the balance here? Like, So that's why it's hard. Like, you make that decision. You go, okay, I'm going to be broke for so long. How long can I do it for? But going full time is the best thing if you ever want to do anything in your life. You just got to go, because you got to let go of that security blanket, man. That option B. There is no option B when you do this stuff. It's just
I won't. I've spoken about this quite a few times with different people on the podcast. Australia in particular it's not like a buoyant industry where you can necessarily be working all the time and sustain yourself. Like, I think you still need to pay rent. You still need to buy food. You still need to eat. So I'm conscious of saying stuff like, I don't want to disagree with you and say like you're wrong, obviously, because this is what works for you. But I'm conscious, or afraid. Afraid's the wrong word. I'm just conscious of putting out into the world that if you want it to work, you have to go all in, and you can only be an actor. Like, you should only be acting, and you shouldn't be focusing on another career or have a backup. I don't think necessarily some things are a backup, but you have to ensure that you can survive outside of acting. Like, I have a full-time 9-to-5 job.
Yep.
But I'm an actor first and foremost. So mentally, I'm all in. So if I get a gig that comes up that's unpaid, but it's going to be good for my career, now I get paid $900 a day to do my day job.
Yep.
I will say I'm not coming to work tomorrow, and I will forego earning that money to do the free job that's going to do my career. So I think you should go all in mentally, but it's not. I don't think it's necessarily possible for people to without having any kind of side hustle to bring money in.
I've always found that, like, when I felt that crunch with me, when I first moved here, I remember I took a photo of my 2 bank accounts, and I had no agent, no nothing. And I literally had there's a workshop came up, and it was $85. And I said, I don't know, I have no clue. Because I rang up the guy that actually, helped me out, was going to help me with my agent. And I said, look, I need to talk to him. He's promised me the stuff. He's taken this much money from me, everything. And I need to. And he said, if you want to talk to him, it's $150 for the hour. And I was like, so I went to this workshop. And then that workshop changed my life. And then from there, I went back to zero that I learned from Brisbane and just hustled. And I had nothing. Oh, man, it was a spiritual challenge, bro. I'll tell you. Every day was just like a roller coaster. But it put me in so much pressure that I started going for jobs, and I was on Facebook pages. I was auditioning for films for the casting directors. I was sourcing every single source that I have developed all the skill sets that I developed from Brisbane, and then I was getting work. And to this day, I get rollovers from those payments. And it's been now, about two. Some of those ones are rolling into the third year, and I've lived off that. Plus, I've got other jobs on top. I feel that I believe that even if you do work in the film industry, it may help you find something that's not within film. Like, for example, I went to this screening. One of the writers for. Anyway, long story cut short, he was always on film sets reading books and stuff like that. And then he wrote his first script, which was Revenge of the Sith. And he sold it for $200,000. And he became a writer. But I always believe that if you go full into it may not be acting. You may be a writer. You may be a director. You may be a producer. Or it may lead you to the job you got now. Or I always find that if you have a security blanket, it can ease off your pressure to want to pursue something more.
Sure.
That's the only thing I find, that a lot of friends of mine are still comfortable with their jobs up in there. They still message me like, how's the industry and how's everything going? But I always say, I'm like, you have to do it yourself. You got to dive in. Like, I can't give you the answers. Like, you might get way more work than me, who knows? I always find that it's important to pay the bills. Even that night field job for Carl's is nights. You don't get auditions at nighttime.
Yeah.
If you want to get off, just take the time off. Yeah. If that's what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do to survive, to get through. But once you make the other job consume more hours of your passion, you focus less on the study aspect of you becoming how great you are.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that.
That's the only reason why the borderline. But I just totally believe you've got to pay your bills, you've got to survive, and people start off doing jobs doing.
Cool. I'm just conscious of time. We've kind of clicked over the hour point now, so I'm going to ask one final question, given because I like your levels of like 1 to 10 of what you're working towards or where you're getting. As I said before, a lot of people question, like, I've been doing this for a year and I'm not where I need to be. If you had to give a piece of advice to someone that felt that was questioning, am I good enough? Where am I at? Like, I'm not getting the results. Yep. What would your piece of advice be?
My piece of advice would be, okay, firstly, like, for example, one benefit out of that website, the independent websites that use, is you act as your own agent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what teaches you about how to market yourself. You find more about yourself. I find that if you're struggling, you need to look back and go, okay, what have I done to help myself get out there more?
Yeah.
So you have to have, firstly, real. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, as long as you have something there, you've got short films. We all done short films. We all start. That's how you learn. You can't not do short film. And it's funny, when you get a short film and it gets an award or gets recognized, that's equivalent to a film. Because actually the credits are exactly the same. Yeah. There's no difference between going on set in a short film and going on a professional set, or what they call a high budget set. Same thing. You turn up, you get your makeup, you learn your lines, you do your thing. There's no difference at all whatsoever. Once you do more of them, you start to create your awareness. See, for me, what I really pride my work ethic on was, I started learning stuff where, for example, clients would ring me up and go, hey, dude, I need to do a promotional video. I was like, okay, cool. He goes, we got a 6-hour window to shoot it. I'd make sure they have it done in 2 hours and we're having beers. Because the thing is, I'm like, what's the star shot? Cool. All right. Got the focus? Cool. Boom. The guy's like, oh, wait. What's the end shot? Yeah, cool. Yep. Got the focus? Yep. He's like, what? I'm doing this guy's job, right? And I go, is this the pace to walk at? Yeah, cool. Where else do you want me to walk to? You have to know these things, right? If he can do a job in 2 hours and get paid for 6 hours, he's going to call you back again.
Yeah.
If he calls someone else that takes 6 hours to do a job in 6 hours or 4 hours, he's still got to tell them what to do, and he's still got to.
Yeah. So what's your piece of advice that you're giving to someone out of all this?
Yeah, see, my piece of advice, you need to go outside the box. You need to learn more about just being in front of the camera. You got to learn everything else about it. You got to learn, how can I make their job easier? It's not about, because at the end of the day, you're there to help, and they want you to bring something to the film set or the job or whatever. But how can you make their job easier? When they cast you, when they look at you, they like what you bring. But if you can bring 10, 15, 20 options, they're going to love it. If you bring one, what the hell?
Yeah, sure.
You know, you've got to go out of the box, and you've got to become one of those people that they go, oh, like Danny Rako said that, one of his actors comes to set prepared, knows all their lines, knows all the options, knows backups in case something happens. He's got everything covered. So once they go shoot, he does his bit. He's got everything covered. And then he just critiques a little bit or whatever because he's done all the hard work at home. Their job is easier. They just, it's quick because they got deadlines. They got things to do. You know, so create the ammo. More ammo you got, the better you are as an artist.
Perfect. Mate, thank you so much for spending some time with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It sounds like you are definitely well on your way to making it. And sounds like you've made it in certain points of your career already, which is fantastic.
One thing I can give advice, sorry, Danny, is write your own stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone's got beautiful stories to tell, dude. Like, write a short, make it to a short, get connections with films, like students. There's students out there that want to make more movies. Connect with them after they graduate.
Yeah.
Get stuff done. Yeah.
100%. All right, Paul, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and good luck on the rest of your journey to making it.
Mafatai lava, which means thank you in Samoan.
Amazing. Have a good day.